Good morning, everyone, and we are introducing the newest and most affordable BSc in Trinidad, which is the Bachelor's in Information Technology program offered at CTS College in partnership with the University of Bedfordshire. My name is Sanjeev, and I'll be your host for today's session. Before we begin, how are you all doing on this wonderful Saturday morning? Is everyone okay?
So far, so good.
Excellent, no problem. So we're going to move straight into the presentation this morning, but a little bit about the speakers, right? We're supposed to have 3 persons here, but unfortunately they couldn't have been here, right? So these persons are directly linked to the bachelor program. So you can contact any 3 persons on screen. The last person there would be me. So you have Mr. Ravi Raghunath, who is the Executive Director of CTS College, can be reached at that number and that email address. Mr. Aaron Naris, who a lot of you may have spoken to over the phone as well. He's your program manager for the bachelor's, and I am your program administrator. So these are the 3 persons primarily you will be in contact with once interested with the bachelor program, right? And all of us can actually be emailed at bsc@ctscollege.com. So when emails are sent to this address, it reaches all 3 of us, right? Rather than directly contacting one person or another. All right, so these numbers, I would encourage you to save these numbers. Any one of these numbers, doesn't matter which, you can get any information with regards to the program from any of these persons, right? Inclusive of myself. So I'm going to start the presentation, but I have a question for you all, right? So anyone would like to tell me why exactly they are interested in studying for a bachelor's degree? If we were to be a bit more specific, right? Why study for a bachelor's degree? Any typical reasons? I can actually tell you a lot of reasons why, but I want to hear from you all. What made you interested in pursuing your bachelor's degree? You can put your answers out in the chat. That's totally fine as well. More marketable, excellent. So we're getting into the employability aspect, which is a very, very large aspect out of it. Job requirements. So it's most cases, it's for better career opportunities as well, right? Because you are now pinpointing your career path by following a specific program, right? So typically, there's a lot more reasons as well, and I'll share with you. So for example, a lot of persons may do a bachelor's degree for promotion, whether they're in a job currently and they're wishing to advance higher within a job, right? A job spec, etc. If they're looking to change their career path entirely, so you're stuck within one area, you want to shift across to another career path, you may pursue a bachelor's degree, right? In terms of increased salary, let's say that you're working within an establishment right now and there's an open position, you're looking to advance into that open position for the benefit of the increased salary, persons pursue a bachelor's degree, right? To start or grow your own business as well, right? A bachelor's degree is an excellent point, especially in IT, right? A lot of persons have used it. They have studied and they have started their own business straight out of after completing that bachelor's degree. Of course, we have the factor of personal achievement, like persons who would have had a lot of extensive experience, like hands-on work experience with IT, but didn't really complete a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree, right? They may do a bachelor degree program for personal achievement, just for the sake of having the qualification, in addition to the prior knowledge that they would have had within the subject area as well. And of course, practical experience in IT. Now, this one is specific to a bachelor's degree in IT. So our program is actually formulated so that you get the most out of the practical side of IT in terms of programming, prototyping, and stuff like that. And of course, enhancing your employability, right? Not only that it puts you at a higher level, like a higher education standard, right? That would more or less get you to the point where a lot of persons, a lot of employers would seek your expertise or your knowledge within that specific area. All right. So these are typically reasons why persons would study for a bachelor's degree. But in addition to this, what I would like to do at this point is just do a bit of comparison in terms of the salary aspect or the job aspect, right? So on screen, what we're going to show is a bunch of qualifications, right, to fit one specific role. And this specific role is an on-job training role, so much more like an intern level, right? And we're going to show you actually, after having certain qualifications, what you would be earning per month, right? So this is qualification based. This is OJT salary qualification based. So a person possessing CSEC or CXC qualifications, or CSEC qualification to be specific, would earn roughly $3,000 per month. Someone with a CAPE qualification or a diploma would earn roughly $4,300 per month. Persons with an associate degree would earn roughly $5,400 per month, but a person with a bachelor's degree would earn roughly $7,500 per month. We can actually see that difference there between the associates and the bachelors, or even the CSEC qualification and the bachelors. That's a very, very big difference. And of course, you have your master's degree, right, way further down the line after your bachelor's degree with a monthly salary of $8,700 and more. Now, just bear in mind, this is actually on average. So there's a much higher chance that you would be earning a lot more than what is shown on screen here. And of course, the position is on-job training, right? So a lot of persons who complete a bachelor's degree, right, they would be moving into maybe a position that's much higher than an on-job training position or an intern position. So everything that's being shown on screen is actually on average. Now, we're going to look at a specific case for pursuing your degree. So how much more would you earn with a bachelor's degree versus CSEC qualifications? Or basically after you complete secondary school, you get that CSEC certificate. How much more would a person be earning versus having a bachelor's degree there, right? So we're going to take our bachelor degree figure, which was roughly 7,500. To be a bit more specific, it's $7,562.50. We're going to minus the CSEC figure, or the first figure that we would have seen in the previous screen from that, right, which would have been $3,025. And the difference there would be $4,537.50. So this is how much more that you would be earning per month, right, if you have a bachelor's degree rather than having a CSEC qualification. So it's a lot more, right? There's a lot more things that you can be doing with your money at the end of each month once you have a bachelor's degree. But to go further down the line as well, right, how much more would you be earning in a year? So we're going to take that figure that we would have just calculated there, all right, per month, the extra that we would be earning per month, and we're going to multiply that by 12. So roughly you would be earning $54,450 more every year. And again, average. This is average. You have almost $55,000 in your pocket, right, or in your bank account every year, in addition to, other, stuff like that. So how much more would you be earning in a lifetime or over a 40-year period, right? We're going to take that yearly figure and we're going to multiply it by 40, and you would be earning roughly $2,178,000 more just by having a bachelor's degree. And again, average. Just bear in mind that these are all average figures. The positions that you may be offered after completing a bachelor degree program may not be limited to on-job training or intern positions. They may be much more professional positions, right, where IT specialists are concerned, etc. Right? So seeing this is the case, you automatically know that having a higher qualification would result in better employability options. And of course, that would include higher salaries, the possibility of getting paid a bit more versus someone who does not possess the qualification. So it's understood that having a bachelor's degree turns out well in the long run, right? So just by working 1 year, you can have actually paid off all of your fees for your bachelor's degree, right? So you earn it back. It's an investment. It's an active investment, right? So we're going to look at the job aspect of it now as well. So we would have done some quick research on the World Economic Forum, the jobs of tomorrow, and they actually suggested that the workforce is automating and it's displacing over 85 million jobs in the next 5 years. That's their prediction. Now, the COVID-19 recession had created a double disruption scenario for the worker. So 43% of businesses who were surveyed, they are now adopting technological integrations to reduce their workforce, right? So what if a company has like roughly 30 cashiers up front, but they implement an online service that would, basically they don't need those cashiers up front. They now have the ability to hire one person to run that system, make sure that it's being kept online, and the customers just simply go straight through the system. There's no need to have cashiers. So you're basically paying a lot less salaries. This is what the employer is looking at. You are paying less salaries. You have a technological integration that would get the job done faster, a bit more efficient, time efficient as well, and there's little to no space for errors. And in terms of the cost of it, you just need one or two persons or a team, an IT team, to manage the system to make sure it's upkept, right? So this is the reason why a lot of jobs are now being discarded of. So we're going to look at, on the right-hand side, we're going to look at the ins and outs. We're going to look at the jobs that would is expected to rise, the job demands that are looking to rise over the next 5 years, and the others that will be shrinking. So on this column over here, right, the increasing in demand, you would see data analysts and scientists, AI and machine learning specialists, big data specialists, digital marketing and strategy specialists, etc. On the right-hand side here, you would be seeing decreasing in demand, like data entry clerks, administrative and executive secretaries, accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll clerks, etc. I have a question for you all. Do you all see any trend here? Look at the job roles that are increasing in demand, that is expected to increase in demand, and look at those that are expected to decrease in demand. Anyone can see a trend here? Have a look at it. Let me know. I can tell you what I noticed. Look at this here. Look at the ones that are actually increasing in demand. Let me just get my mouse pointer, laser pointer. Look at those that are increasing in demand. We have data analysts and scientists. We have AI and machine learning specialists, big data specialists, digital marketing and strategy specialists. These are specialists. They are looking for specialists. These are expected to increase in demand, which means that you must satisfy a specific level of like a specific criteria in terms of qualification, right? You must be qualified in order to become or given that title specialist. Look at those that are decreasing in demand, or those that are expected to decrease in demand rather. We have data entry clerks. We have administrative and executive secretaries, accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll clerks. These guys or these roles are not specific, or it's not as wide as having someone like a data analyst and scientist. So basically having a data analyst and scientist, you can actually fill or cross off a lot of these roles here. So you're hiring a specialist that can actually run and do a lot more things than rather hiring a bunch of smaller groups, or like a bunch of people filling only a specific role at a company. Right? It would make a lot more sense for the employer to hire one person that could do a lot more rather than hire a whole bunch that only do part of the job, right? And if someone falls sick, they have nothing to compensate for that, right? So that's why they're looking at introducing technology into their businesses to get stuff done a bit more efficiently as well. All right? Yeah. The ones that are increasing in demand is more technological integration rather than decreasing in demand, right? So less employees are required, less salaries have to be paid by the employer. You're basically employing a specialist to manage your system, manage the system of the business. And that's basically it. There's no need for any front desk staff. There's no need for any secondary roles to be filled. So they're just primarily paying one salary for one IT specialist to run a system. And that's essentially it. That's why it turns out really well for the business as well, right? So that's primarily what it is right now, or what it would be in the next 5 years, according to the World Economic Forum. Moving a bit further, so it's not actually as widespread, but it is actually as widespread as you may think. But a lot of persons fail to recognize that these things are actually happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. It's not only happening in the US, right? It's happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. As a matter of fact, the Caribbean, right? It's not limited to those bigger states or those bigger countries and stuff like that. For example, we have Massy stores doing their online website or their application where you can actually purchase goods and have it pay for it online and have it delivered at your doorstep. You also have the ability to link your Massy card on there as well, right? So this is just one example of it taking place. We also have KFC, right? They have delivery pickup services as well. So you can order and pay for your food online and just drive to the nearest KFC branch and have your food collected, or you can have it delivered to you. So, right? So efficient. We also have the TTBS, which a lot of persons are not aware of. I'm not sure how many of you were aware that TTBS actually has this, but you can actually make your reports online without having to visit your nearest police station. So basically, you are trying to introduce technology into businesses, and because of that, you need IT professionals to manage your systems. Rather than persons just to fill one specific role, you are creating a system within a business, following a specific business model, and you are hiring specialists to upkeep that specific system for the business model, essentially. All right. So a bit about the University of Bedfordshire, a bit about the program as well, because this is a foreign program being offered at CTS College. So you would be a student of both CTS College as well as the University of Bedfordshire. But why study with the University of Bedfordshire? A bit of history of the University of Bedfordshire. They are a modern, innovative university with a heritage of top quality education going back for more than 100 years, with more than 20,000 students from over 120 countries. They have 5 campuses that are based in the UK. The famous ones are, of course, in Luton and Bedford. They have educational partners in China, the Middle East, Europe, Southeast Asia, as well as Trinidad and Tobago. And the internationally renowned league table has placed Bedfordshire in the top 6% of the best universities in the world. They are actually also the winner of the Queen's Anniversary Prize in 2013. This is considered the highest form of national recognition for universities within the UK. So they've been out there over more than a century of experience within the education system. So they are very knowledgeable of the things, their processes, everything like that, right? A bit further into CTS College, or your experience at CTS College, right? Being a student of the University of Bedfordshire is one thing, but being a student of CTS College is another. And we here at CTS College love to market the fact, of course, that we are much more interested in the student's experience rather than, just simply offering a program and have the student run through the program. We try to be there every step of the way in guiding, in providing advice, or of course, just simply helping the student out with their assignments. Anything that we can do to bring value to the student's experience, we will take those measures, right? So we here at CTS College want to promote the idea of having the education be just beyond the academics. We're going a bit further, a bit more in depth with each student. So why study at CTS College? Well, here at CTS College, our mission is to provide high quality and relevant educational opportunities whilst promoting excellence in both staff and students. CTS College is a private institution with over 22 years in the education industry. We are ACTT recognized and registered, ACTT being the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. And CTS College offers a wide range of programs all the way from preschool to secondary school. And of course, tertiary level programs are also being offered as well. And we also have a wide range of professional development programs and courses, short courses, DIY, even IT certifications as well. We do carry all of these. So a bit further down the line in terms of our achievements, we are actually the winner of over 106 ABE World Prizes since 2007. This number has actually shifted from 106, I believe, 109 as of date. And we are also the winner of 47 university awards with the University of Hertfordshire, which is another university that we offer programs with. And we are also the winner of 2 ABMA Academic Achievement Awards. In addition to all of these, we are also the winner of awards from ACTT, the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. We would have won 11 ACTT awards. We won 6 for student support services, 3 for excellence for an established QMS, and 2 for excellence in teaching and learning as well. So we had over 20 years or 2 decades of experience within the educational system, right? Offering a wide range of programs that fit the needs of different types of students as well. And within all of that time, we have become an institution that's much more focused on the student rather than focused on offering a program that a student takes. We want to make sure that their experience follows through with our mission, right? To provide the quality of the best quality of education towards our students and promoting excellence in both our staff body and our student body. So A bit further into our experience delivering bachelor degree programs, we have been offering bachelor degree programs for over 15 years. Our average pass rate, specifically within the bachelor's in IT, is roughly 90% per module. And we have over 2,000 applicants per year for this bachelor's degree. So it's something hot on the table. A lot of persons come in, they want to do this program because they have a lot of knowledge or pre-knowledge, or maybe they heard about someone who would have done it and they heard about the experience at CTS College with us delivering this program, and it interested a lot of people. So we have a high number of applicants every year. We actually had over 1,750 BSc IT graduates with 500 first class honors. So 500 out of that 1,750 would have gotten first class honors. And another high number of those students would have gotten upper seconds, etc. And we have graduates employed in various sectors and in various industries at various levels. So a lot of persons completing this bachelor's degree. The bachelor's degree, of course, is internationally recognized. So we have persons finishing it with us at CTS College, moving across into Canada, the US, even into the UK, of course, and they're getting opportunities there, right? They would have held down positions within Cisco, within other high-ranking IT-based companies, etc. Right? And a lot of persons have actually went along the line of entrepreneurship. So they started their own business, so their own IT company after, pursuing this bachelor's degree, and based on their previous qualifications, etc. Right? They would have had enough knowledge now to start their own business, start and run their own business as well. Right? So it's actually something that you're not just going to have a piece of paper at the end of it. You're going to be basically developed to the point where you can actually start and run your own business, right? So that's a little bit about our experience with delivering the bachelor's in IT, and a bit further, or a bit to exemplify what our pass rates look like. We have up here our level 4 units that would be these two highlighted in blue. We have 2 of the level 5 units highlighted in orange, and then we have 3 level 6 units here. If you look at the pass rate, we have 96% and 99% respectively for the 2 level 4 units up here. For the 2 level 5 units, we have 95 and 92 respectively. And at level 6, we have 100% pass rate for all of our modules that were offered within that specific semester. And if we look at the grade ranges as well, which would be these columns here, specifically at level 4, the rows highlighted in blue, right? The amount of students that scored within 70 to 100 would have been 58 and 88 respectively, right? So we have the majority of the students scoring within the 70 to 100 range, which is more or less satisfying a first class honor, right? And very minimal fall within the 60 to 69 range, the 50 to 59 range, etc. Specifically at level 6, we could see the numbers just simply, vanishing when it goes lower down the line in terms of the grade range, and the majority are within the 70 to 100% range and the 60 to 69% range, right? So overall, we can basically infer that what we're doing, right, what we're trying to create for students as well, it is actually working. Our support has paid off. Look at our pass rates, right? So in terms of the features of the bachelor's in information technology with the University of Bedfordshire, right? It's globally accessible, work applied, accelerated, affordable, and fully accredited. We will be taking a look at these specifically. And I would like to start with the idea of fully accredited. Now, this program is actually accredited by the Quality Assurance Agency, or the QAA for short, which is basically the equivalent to what ACTT is in Trinidad. So it's an accreditation council. It conducts audits on universities in and around the UK. Now, the University of Bedfordshire was subjected to a QAA review and has successfully met the expectations. So they've passed, basically, right? So they are actually considered actual awarding body, and a valid one as well. The University of Bedfordshire is also recognized as an awarding body by ACTT as well. All right. So a bit further into what your certificate would look like at the end of it, we have Mr. Aaron Naris, who have actually recently finished his BSc in IT, right? And this is ideally what your degree certificate would be looking like. So you can expect just a peek of it, what it would be looking like. The only difference there is your name there, and hopefully we would also see first class honors on it as well. All right. So in terms of being globally accessible, we would have mentioned, we would have spoken about the wide range of students that has access to this program, the educational partners as well that university has partnered with, inclusive of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, when we say globally accessible, more than 20,000 students from over 120 countries are doing this program right now. And the University of Bedfordshire has educational partners in China, the Middle East, Europe, Southeast Asia, and Trinidad and Tobago. They also have an online learning environment called Brio, and it's available 24/7 from anywhere in the world. Once you become a student at the University of Bedfordshire, you will be getting access to Brio, and you have all of your learning materials are going to be centralized there. But of course, CTS College would be offering lectures, and we'll get to that a bit later. In terms of student support, you get student support here at CTS College in terms of administrative support, or maybe you need some support with your assignments, but on the university side, you have the availability of a student information desk, or SID, that's open 24/7 to support students from anywhere in the world. You have an inquiry, you have an issue, you can email sid@beds.ac.uk to get assistance in real time. Anytime that you need that assistance is open 24/7. And we also have here at CTS College, in addition to Brio and your resources on Brio, which is the online learning environment that the university gives you access to, we have created a centralized point where all of the materials, even our materials from our lecturers and what the university provides, we have centralized it on a Google Share Drive. And we've created level 4, level 5, and level 6 folders specifically for each level, right? Students get access to all levels, so they can actually study ahead if they'd like to in terms of the content, but they could just basically take a peek of what they would be covering next semester or in the next level, etc. But all of the content samples and previous recordings from previous iterations of the exact same module, etc., would all be accessible on our Google Share Drive. So we try to make it a very resource-rich environment for the students, so they never have the lack of resources when they're doing their projects, etc. Right? They are fully covered in terms of the content. In terms of practical, right, you have the ability by doing this bachelor's degree to solve real IT challenges. And what I mean by that is you get hands-on experience in terms of developing IT systems. You deliver IT solutions that support a wide range of business functions, right? And then you, of course, learn to develop systems with excellent design through understanding human-computer interaction required in modern IT systems. And when we say practical solving real IT challenges, you as a student would expect that at the end of this bachelor's degree, you now have the ability to, okay, someone comes with you with an IT-based problem or even a business problem, you can propose an IT solution that can actively assist the consumer, the customer, or the person who's coming to you with the problem. And an example of how the university or how this program targets that is, of course, the assignment, the things that you would be doing throughout the program that would basically develop you in terms of solving real IT challenges. This is an example. So this is an assignment attempted by a student. So the assignment required them to create a proposal for a real IT solution. So they were to identify a real IT problem and propose an IT solution to it. So this student would have actually proposed in an IT solution, or basically the availability of a fleet management system or solution for the public transportation system of Trinidad and Tobago, which is primarily known as PTSC. So they've created a fleet management system solution for PTSC as a project under the bachelor's in IT. So it basically develops you in terms of solving problems with real IT solutions, right? So a bit further into accelerated, now there's levels to the program, as we may have covered a bit earlier. There's level 4, 5, and 6. We'll come to how you're progressing in terms of the breaks, in terms of the payment a bit later, but just to make note of how the program is being offered, primarily, you can start at any level, right? Depending on where you start, right? It may determine how long you take to complete the program, but ideally, each level consists of 4 units, which can be done in 2 semesters. So you have 4 units per level. So let's say that I'm a level 4 student. I would have 4 modules or 4 subjects or 4 units to complete. Now, I can only do 2 units in 1 semester, which is 4 months, right? So which means that in 2 semesters or 8 months, I can complete all 4 units, which means I can complete the level in 8 months. I can complete the level in 8 months. When I say complete the level, it means that I'm completing all 4 subjects or all 4 units, but I can't do all 4 in 1 semester. That's going to be way hard for me to do. So what we have done is split it across 2 semesters. So you can do 2 units at a time, 2 by 2, and then you complete the level, and then you move on to the next level to repeat the process, right? So you can complete your bachelor's degree in just over 2 years, starting at level 4, right? 2 years, 8 months to be specific, but we'll look at progression in terms of the time aspect a bit later. We'll represent it graphically as well, so it's a bit easier to understand how the program is structured. In terms of affordability, the UOB BSc IT is one of the more affordable BSc IT programs within Trinidad. Our payment plans as well, yes, we do have payment plans. And of course, it's not only limited to what we propose. It can actually be altered a bit by the student according to their liking, or, according to how they receive payments as well, right? In terms of some persons may be paid fortnightly, monthly, whatever the case might be, right? We have a plan for you. In addition to that, we also partner with institutions such as JMMB to assist students in obtaining student loans, etc. So you can basically run, like if you need assistance and there's no other option for you, the payment plan isn't quite working out, you can apply for a student loan through CTS College, and basically the loan is going to clear off all of your fees, and you will be following the bank's protocol in terms of clearing up their fees according to their plan. All right. So in terms of how the program is structured, right, the BSc IT program is made up of 3 levels primarily. Level 4 is year 1. Level 4, year 1 is used interchangeably in terms of identifying it as a level, right? And each level here would have 4 units, of course, right? So level 4, considered year 1, you have 4 units there. It's actually ideal for persons with CAPE qualifications or 2 years plus IT work experience, or you can have IT certifications, a combination of IT certifications and 3 years general work experience with CSEC qualification as well. If you're using CSEC, this means that if you're using CSEC, you will also need to provide general work experience, at least 3 years. But if you have less than that, it's totally fine. You have a high probability of being accepted as well, right? And any professional certification or anything that you have can be provided as well. So level 4 is probably one of the more easier levels to get in. However, level 5 and 6 are much more qualification based or work experience based. So level 5, again, year 2, also 4 units, you will be required to present a level 4 equivalent IT diploma, or at least 2 years plus an IT work experience and IT certs. So it's a combination of work experience and certs, or you can have a diploma that is equivalent to a level 4 IT diploma. Now at level 6, which is considered to be year 3, also 4 units, you need to possess an associate's, an HND, or a level 5 IT diploma or equivalent, or you can have a combination of 6 years IT work experience and IT certs as well, if you don't have an associate's, an HND, or IT diploma. Right? So that's a little bit of insight. Now we would come back to the requirements a bit later as well. But what we're going to look at right now is in terms of the structure. So if you're a student and you're interested at starting at level 4, but in order to complete the program, you must complete level 4 and 5 and 6 to finish the program. And after that, you would be receiving your bachelor's degree. You will be receiving your award. So how long would it take if you start at level 4 and you go all the way to the end, straight onto level 6? Well, let's have a look at that graphically. So BSc IT level 4, right? Year 1. We have 2 semesters, semester 1 of 4 months and semester 2 of 4 months. So typically that's 8 months of studies, right? BSc IT level 5, again, 2 semesters of 4 months each, 8 months to complete the level, right? And in each one of these 4-month periods, you'll be covering 2 out of the 4 units for the level, right? Again, level 6, you have 2 semesters, 4 months each, 8 months there as well. So you have 8 months, 8 months, 8 months, typically. But in addition to this, Before you move from level to level, there's a semester break, a mandatory semester break that the university has mandated as of this year, right? There's 4 months in between here and 4 months in between here. This means that after you complete level 4, right? So you do your 4 months in your first semester, your 4 months in your second semester, you complete level 4 in 8 months, you'll be required or you will be placed on a 4-month mandatory break before going on to level 5, right? And again, after you complete level 5 of 8 months, you would be placed on a 4-month mandatory break before you attempt level 6, right? So typically you have 24 months in terms of studies, right? So typically 2 years of studies and then 8 months of break, right? So 2 years of studies, 8 months, 8 months, 8 months, and then you have the 4-month break periods in between, right? So 8 months of break, right? And that would basically be it in terms of your completion. So again, 2 years of studies, 8 months of break, 2 years, 8 months, right? So that's your progression. And this is how long it would take you to complete the program if you start at level 4, right? Let's have a look at if you start at level 5. So we again have 2 semesters of 4 months each, 8 months to complete that level. And the 2 semesters here, 4 months each, 8 months to complete this level here as well. So again, the idea of progressing is that you must complete the level and you must be placed on a mandatory 4-month break before you attempt the next level, right? So if you start directly at level 5, it's going to take you roughly 16 months of studies and 4 months of break. So ideally 20 months to complete the program from level 5, right? So you would have this break period in between here. In terms of starting directly at level 6, there is 8 months of studies and of course, no break because there's no level to progress to, right? So persons starting directly at level 6 have the ability to complete this program in just as little as 8 months and get their bachelor's degree, right? And of course, entering at level 6 would require that, you completed the previous levels of the program or you satisfy the requirements to be exempted from doing the lower levels and start directly at the final year and complete the program in 8 months as well. All right, so we have presented the idea of the break, but what you as a student of University of Bedfordshire and CTS College, what can you do during that break period? So we have suggested that students may attempt an IT certification at CTS College. We do have a wide range of IT certification courses that is also inclusive of IT-based ones. We have business-based ones as well. So we have recommendations that we would typically make to students. Now, if they're looking to attempt one of these courses, they will be offered a 40% discount. And this is specific to students who are part of the bachelor's in IT. So if you are a registered student with us at CTS College doing the bachelor's in IT, and you're currently on your semester's break of 4 months after completing a level, you are entitled to 40% off any of these courses offered at CTS College. Once it starts within your break period, you have the ability to get 40% off the cost of that. So you can find a full listing of all of the courses that we have to offer, all of the certification courses, IT, business, professional development, DIY. It's all available at ctscollege.com/certifications, right? So this is only, again, valid for registered BSc IT students on semester break, right? So in addition to this, it's not only about the courses that we have to offer. What I typically recommend to students as well, if they don't want to do a course at CTS and take advantage of discount, that's totally fine. My recommendation is that you're on a break, you have access to all of the content because we would have given you access through CTS Shared Drive, right? Or our Google Drive, where all of our content was basically centralized, right? So in that case, you can actually study ahead for your next level of study. So let's say you just completed level 4 and you're on semester break now before you start level 5, you can actually start looking into level 5 content. You can actually start your assignment a bit earlier. And when you actually start the semester, it will be a breeze for you. And a lot of students have been actually doing that and it's working out absolutely fine for them as well. So they're taking advantage of the time to actually study ahead rather than do another program on the course. So we have options open to both. We can actually allow you to sit into classes during your break period. So you completed level 4, on break for level 5. Coming soon, we can actually give you the links to start like sitting into classes for level 5, even though your semester hasn't started, that doesn't mean that you're going to be limited to until you actually start in order to be given the content. You're a student of the program, so you have the ability to look through all of the content, even start your assignment a bit early. It's totally fine, but you'll only be submitting when you are enrolled within your semester, right? So those are typically the options that students have during their break period. We don't want students to lose their momentum, because it's a big concern where a lot of students indicating that, okay, I'm going to be out of school for typically 4 months. That's a long time. That's one semester long. So what can I do? How do I maintain that specific mindset that, hey, I have a bachelor's degree to complete. I need to stay, and not to get distracted when I start back. It's going to be a bit difficult for me. These are things that we recommend to keep yourself going, to keep that momentum going, so that you don't lose your train of thought when you're progressing through the program as well, when the breaks are concerned. All right. So in terms of what you would learn, this is the primary focus at each level. So at level 4, right, you would be covering a couple of things: SQL, databases, database administration, networking as well. You would cover 2 programming languages, primarily Python programming language as well as Java, right? Introductory level, you would be expected to develop applications as well using these programming languages. You will be required to build databases and stuff like that. Of course, you'll be required to do presentations as well, showcasing your work, right? And of course, there would be exams at level 4, but these exams are not as intense as you may think. The projects or the assignments that you're required to program and build and develop, these are actually weighted more than an actual exam within this program specifically. At level 5, you would be dabbling a bit more into user experience design, how design would work on different devices. So you would focus on like mobile devices, as well as, devices such as your desktop, PC, etc. How software and hardware can work together, and how to develop systems secure by design, and the approaches that can be used to test software. We're looking at that as well, and a bit further, a bit more deeper into SQL, a bit deeper into more programming languages and scripting languages such as HTML, CSS. You'll also be looking at JavaScript as well, right? And you'll be introduced to the idea of WordPress, Bootstrap, etc. And you would be given a lot of opportunities to build prototypes. So start doing prototypes, sketching up wireframes, etc. Right? And of course, there's this very specific module that a lot of students seem like extremely interested in, and this module is called the IT Employability Project, right? So this module specifically prepares you for the interview room. You're required as an assignment to basically pick out roles, and you are formatting a resume, a CV, just basically orienting yourself to meet the requirements for that specific role. You're expected to conduct an interview as well in the form of a video presentation. And this is very valuable because a lot of students would come into the program with the mindset of becoming, something within the IT field, right? But by conducting research for this employability project, students are now finding that there's a lot more opportunities than, they are now being exposed to, right? Rather than when they would have started with just a simple mind of completing the bachelor's degree and falling in somewhere into some institution that does IT. They now can specialize or look at specializing by conducting this research. And it also assists them in preparing for from the moment that they have or they're scheduled for an interview, how they would react, how they would present themselves, and how they would represent what they would have done within the bachelor degree program. Putting that out into the workforce, basically marketing yourself as an IT professional. And that is something that is not offered or is not a part of a lot of bachelor degrees out there. Right. So I think it's an excellent approach as well. And the university would have implemented this. This is one of the core modules within the BSc IT program. Right. At level 6 is a bit more intense in terms of programming and development. You will be conducting independent learning through project work and research techniques on new technologies. So you would be doing a lot of research projects. During this period, you will actually produce a completely working software artifact and accompanying technical report. So you would be basically documenting your findings and your experience and your process of development throughout the development cycle as well, right? So what we're doing at this level, we would have encouraged students to build e-commerce solutions, like, for example, something similar to Amazon, eBay, etc. But a lot of students step outside of that scope, and the students who actually step outside of that scope typically score really high. Even those that do actually follow with the e-commerce solution all of them, they do excellent pieces of work as well, right? Just to exemplify what that looks like, right? Here's actually some projects that students would have actually developed throughout this program. So this here is a digital wallet that a student would have created. This would have been the login page for it. You have basically your home screen. This is what the user would be seeing when they're logged in, right? Very user-centric, aesthetic, and of course functional. And of course, they created a prototype for mobile as well, so you can use it on your phone, right? Because it can't be a digital wallet, right, without being, being able to access it on the go, right? The idea of a wallet is being able to carry it around. So why not have your digital wallet carried around with you on your phone as well, right? I guess that's typically the mindset that the student had when doing this project, right? So this is typically what it would have looked like on mobile. Just a couple of prototypes. Now, this student would have actually created an e-commerce solution where they sold art supplies online, right? So this is typically the homepage. There's actually the items listing, there's search bars, etc. They actually implemented a chatbot. So like if you experience problems throughout your shopping experience, you can ask for help and you can get a response in real time. And of course, this is their they created an admin panel as well. So administrators or staff can actually add items, remove items, etc., register other staff members, or create add price listings, etc. Right? So a bit further into fitting this BSc IT into your life. Now, we have primarily 2 intake periods. It's really 3 intake periods, but one of them would be eventually removed. So we remove them from our presentation, but I will still talk on it. So we have a February intake. We also have an October intake. We have a June intake. So February to May, June to September, and October to Jan. Those are typically the structure of the semesters. But eventually, the university is planning to remove the June semester, the June intake period, not the semester. The semester would still exist for the students. So like, let's say that you start in February, you would be able to progress to the June to September semester. However, we will not eventually be accepting any new students within that period. Next year, right? It's actually starting next year. So next year, we would stop accepting applicants, level 4 applicants specifically, right, into the June intake period. The following year, it would be no level 4s and no level 5s. It would be only level 6 that we will be accepting within that June intake period. And then the year after that, there would be no intake period at all, right? So primarily, we're encouraging you that if you're interested, you must apply for our February intake period, or through the February intake period or the October intake period, right? So we can now deduce that we would be having 2 intake periods per year in time to come, all right? Now, a bit about our unit or subject delivery. We discussed the units. We know for sure that there's 4 units per level, right? But in terms of our classes, all of our classes are 2-hour sessions. You may have 2 or 3 classes per week. We're going to actually look at what your timetable would look like if you're looking to start in January next year. So our sessions are 2 hours long. It's 2 hours long per class. Yes, the class is recorded. So if you do happen to miss one, you can review the recording and not lose track of anything. You can stay up to date because a lot of individuals are, of course, working, and we need to compensate for that by providing the recording, the session slides, materials, everything is actually included and provided to the student. Now, a semester is typically 15 weeks long. It could be actually shorter, but it never really exceeds 15 weeks, right? Because we still have that 4-month gap to really, sustain. And then we have the idea of your units. Now, units are typically assessed by 2 to 3 assignments, but it's mostly 2 assignments per unit. So let's say that I'm in my first semester, I'm doing 2 out of the 4 units for the level, right? Each one of the units would have 2 assessments. So I'll have assignment 1 and assignment 2 for module 1, and assignment 1 and assignment 2 for module 2. Right? So it's not really, I've never seen a 3rd assignment, but there's just typically 2 assignments, right? And then you have a 2-week break at the end of the semester. This is not to be confused for the semester break. Not to be confused for the semester break. At the end of the semester, before you start your 2nd semester within the same level, we have a little bit of time for students to clear their fees, prepare for the next semester, for us to prepare as well in terms of our lecturers, our classes, etc., and the new timetable. And that really takes place within a 2-week period. So after you submit your final assignment within a semester, consider the semester finished, and then we will be following up with you with the beginning of the new semester, right? So we'll give you the dates, the timetables, the links to your classes all beforehand, but it's all done within that 2-week break, right? And of course, your results will be finalized as well at the end there. So you will be able to view your final results as well for your assessments. So in terms of what your timetable would be looking like, this is actually the timetable for January. So let me just get my pen tool here. So over here we have for new and continuing students in level 4, perhaps I can actually use a color that's a bit different from that. I guess maybe yellow would be fine. So we have new and continuing students in level 4. These are the modules that you would be doing here, right? So you have your introduction to software development, which is Python, and you have fundamentals of computer science. Now, note that there's 2 classes for this 1 unit. It doesn't mean that you're doing 3 units. It means that you're doing 2 units. But this module specifically is so big that there needs to be 2 classes to cover 2 major aspects within the same module. So it's, again, still 2 modules that you're doing. It's just that there's 2 different classes since the module has 2 major aspects to it, right? So you would typically have class, if you're a level 4 student starting January, you would have a class on a Saturday from 10:30 to 12:30. Then you would have a class on a Tuesday afternoon from 6:30 to 8:30, and then a Wednesday class from 6:30 to 8:30. Right? So that's typically the structure for level 4 students, new and continuing students. So students who are starting in Jan and students who are progressing onto the 2nd semester within the program. Now, level 5 students who are new and continuing, you have 2 units. Your classes would both be on Saturdays, and it's typically from 10:15 to 12:15, and then 12:45 to 2:45. In between here, you have a small lunch break since it's back-to-back classes, but these are the 2 units that will be covered, your employability project and user experience design. So both of your classes will be on Saturdays, right? So it's basically almost an entire day of class. And of course, we have level 6. Now, level 6 is actually broken into 2 main parts. We have the new student category, we have the continuing student category. Now, just to explain why it's actually listed like this, right? The reason why is that students who would have basically progressing on to their 2nd semester, they would have already completed one of the units that the new students are doing. So we need to separate them, right? So new students entering the program would have the advanced information technology module to cover. They would also have the research methodologies unit to cover, right? So the continuing students though, right, they don't need to do research methodologies. They would have already done that in their 1st semester. So they would need to do this unit. They would need to do the advanced information technology unit, right? Because they would have already completed the research methodologies in their previous semester. So that's why it's split, because we don't want to confuse the new student schedule with the continuing student schedule. But new students, which most likely would include you, you would have 2 classes on a Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then 10:30 to 12:30 for your 2nd unit. Again, a small break in between, a half-hour break between this class and this class here. All right. So not to be confused with the continuing student stuff, you are limited to this for now, right? So your new students here, you have your level 5 starters here, and we have our level 4 starters here, right? So this is typically the tentative timetable. It's subject to change, but I don't think that any changes will be made here for this timetable. All right, so any questions here? Of course, the important dates to note as well. We have 2 induction sessions, one on January 14th and January 18th. We have a Saturday session and a Wednesday follow-up session. You must attend both if you're a new student. The registration deadline is December the 23rd, and our semester starts on January 21st. And the semester is actually expected to end by May 5th. It could be a bit later, depending on when the final assignment for your module is due, right? The latest one, after you complete that, consider the semester finished, but we are anticipating that you are going to be done with your semester by May 5th. All right, so let's move a bit further into the support aspect. So what support is available at CTS College? We have face-to-face and phone support at CTS College. We have course advisors, academic support, and administrative support. So you need course information and support with your application, totally fine. We can deal with that. You need academic support like induction and of course one-on-one support when you're a student of the program. We handle that as well. And of course, an administrative aspect as well, like registration letters and general student inquiries. we are here for you in terms of that as well, right? In terms of online support, we have the the online students portal, which is Brio, which you will be getting access to once you're a registered student of the University of Bedfordshire and CTS College, where your study materials, study support guides, grades, feedback, and submission of assignments would take place, right? So it's all being done on Brio. And of course, you have access to your online libraries, you have access to journals, readings, papers, complementary resources as well, courtesy of the University of Bedfordshire and CTS College. Now, being a student of the UOB, they actually created, like, you get a student email account, right, with a specific, like you have your first name and your last name, but it has a specific domain. And that domain is a university-based domain that will give you access to, like, login access to a lot of digital libraries, right, or online libraries like ACM and ResearchGate. You can log in with your university email from University of Bedfordshire and get exclusive access to a lot of online articles and papers. So when you're doing your research projects throughout your experience at the program, you would have a lot of materials to support your all of your assignments and all of the points that you're trying to draw across, etc. Right, so you have access to that as well. And of course, for students who don't have access to Microsoft Office, like they don't have access to Word, etc. If you use your student email account, you can actually log into a Microsoft Office client, so you can use it on the web as well. And you can get access to Microsoft Word, like IT, basically the essentials. So you get access to Word, PowerPoint. You also get access to, I believe, Access and Publisher, I think, right? So you get basically the essentials around Microsoft Office. So you can complete your assignments, right? If you have a presentation to do, you can use PowerPoint to create your slides. And of course, you can use Zoom to record yourself, etc. So you get access to a lot of materials once you become a student at the University of Bedfordshire, right? In terms of what support is available at CTS College, all right, if anything at all in terms of if you need information, help, assistance, guidance, in terms of solutions to problems that you may have as a student, whether it be when it comes to payment of fees, academic issues, maybe you have a bit of uncertainty in terms of your direction, in terms of your career path, we are course advisors. We are here to assist you in that regard as well. All right, so a bit of feedback on our Instagram page, just for an example as well, where we have Instagram pages where we usually have a lot of activities for students to take part in. So we had recently had a promotion where we offered students, free movie tickets, etc., like that. And we had a competition. Students were entered, they had to leave a comment on our Instagram page, etc. Right. So we typically do these things from time to time to, better engage students as well, just to do something nice for students. So let's say that there's, Easter is coming up, we're going to host an Easter event, you can win something, that kind of thing as well. We want to make sure that our students, they have fun at CTS College as well, right? So seeing that that is the case, there a lot of students actually left some valuable comments for us as well. And this is only a couple of them. We couldn't fit all of them in one slide. It wouldn't make sense showing all of them, right? But just a bit of some of them that were taken straight out of, I believe, Instagram, right? So these are actually seen on screen right now. Now, in terms of induction, right, you would have two sessions to induction. One is the 14th, one is the 18th, I believe. So you have two sessions. You are required to attend both sessions if you're a new student. In the first session, you are introduced to the course and the structure. In the second session, you will be receiving referencing guidance on the University of Bedfordshire when doing written assignments and when conducting research projects. They require you to, of course, do research. You're going to have to look at other documents, and when you look at other documents and you include that work into your work, you need to reference and cite it. And there's actually a specific process or specific standard they have set, right? Or basically a method that they use that's specific to their university, and we have to basically make sure that you are familiar with it. And it's actually the Harvard referencing system, right? So we have an entire session to induction to handle that part of it, make sure that you're well informed about it as well, and making sure that you can actively use it when eventually you start doing your assignments and your research projects, etc. Right? So basically it's an academic writing workshop. So it's important that you attend both induction sessions. back to back. And then of course, your classes would be starting right after, right? So in terms of assessment, we have courseworks, we have group and individual projects as well, portfolios, essays, presentations, and exams. Now, exams are limited. We have a lot more of the exams taking place in level 4, and maybe one exam in level 5. But after that, there isn't really much exams. And these exams are not really weighted hefty. They are only weighted like roughly like a 30% of the entire module, where the written assignments are like the group assignments, the projects, the portfolios, the essays, the coursework would typically be the majority out of the units, right? So of course, if you require any further assistance with regards to your assignments, your lecturers, your first line of contact, if for some reason you need further support, we are here as well. And we actually provide samples from previous iterations of the course, like what students would have done previously. But typically our lecturers handle it like this. You are a student, they basically start with the intention of you knowing absolutely nothing of the topic, and they basically take you from the ground up in terms of the content. So you'll never be left behind. Let's say that you start directly at level 5. You don't need to know level 4 work in order to progress on to level 5. The lecturer starts at the bottom, assuming that you know absolutely nothing on the topic, and gets you where you need to be in completion of your assignments, etc. All right. So in terms of progressing units and passing, right? You must, in order to pass a unit, you must attempt all of the assignments, assignment 1 and 2 for each module, unless specified otherwise by us or a university official. In order to pass a unit, you must gain an aggregate grade of 40%. And of course, what this means is that your assignment 1 and assignment 2, when it's basically total, it must be at least 40% in total in order to progress, right? And of course, to progress between levels, between level 4 to level 5 and level 5 to level 6, you actually must pass at least 90 credits. So you must pass 3 units with a grade of 40% or more. And in the unit that you didn't do so well in, your 4th unit, you must have at least attained 35% in order to move on to the next level. Other than that, you would have to repeat the module that you didn't perform well in. All right, so in terms of the award classifications, first class honors basically fall within the category of an average of 70% or more. Upper second class honors follow a average of 60 to 69 range. We have the lower second class honor of 50 to 59%, and third class honors of 40 to 49%. Now, most of our students, or if not all of our students, fall within the first class honors and the upper second class honor. Rarely ever we get a lower third class honor, and I don't think as of recently we would have gotten any. So just February, the February semester results have been released. Just this year, we would have gotten first class honors for 43 students, which was our entire level 6 class. So all of our level 6 students would have gotten a first class honor, which is excellent. And that was just this year, right? Just previously last year in the October semester, we got 21 first class honors. We got 4 students with upper second class honors and 1 student with a lower second, right? I didn't include the June results here, but a lot of students attained that first class honor. I think maybe we had one or two students who got an upper second class honor as well. But regardless, it's excellent, right? And it's actually improving as well. So in terms of the resources that would be required, now, us at CTS College at our campus, we have Wi-Fi access for all students. And of course, we have textbooks that are available at our library within our campus. However, most of these classes are online, right? So you as a student would be required to have access to Wi-Fi and of course a laptop or computer, something that you can use to attend your classes and of course attempt your assignments, right? Now, recommendations on system requirements for your computer, that is fully and solely dependent on you. Just make sure that, it's something that could definitely multitask, because you would be programming, you would be writing your report, you would be doing a lot of things at the same time. So you want to make sure that you have something good enough with enough processing power and random access memory in order to complete your assignments and stuff without it crashing, you losing your work and stuff like that, because that's a serious issue. All right. So again, students must have access to Wi-Fi and of course a computer in order to do this degree, right? And I believe a lot of you have satisfied that criteria already. So in terms of graduation, you as a student, you have 2 options for graduation. We have our annual graduation ceremony that's actually hosted at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Port of Spain. That's done with CTS College. right? So once you complete, let's say that I would have completed my studies this year, right? I would be graduating, like I completed my studies in June this year, I would be graduating at the end of the year, right? So every December, we would typically host a graduation ceremony at CTS College. So you have the option of graduating with us. You also have the opportunity to, with graduating with the University of Bedfordshire in the UK. So they actually host a graduation ceremony there as well. We did have a couple of students go across, but they say while it was excellent, it was just an out of world experience to see this much students, you know, in such a small space as well, right? They felt like it was a bit, you know, strange to them because they were graduating among people that they are not quite familiar with, right? But a lot of students, anyways, they gravitate towards our graduation ceremony that's held annually at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. The cost for books, no. Actually, all of the content, I'm not sure for the textbooks that we have available at CTS College, there may be a fee for rental, but it would be kept at minimal, right? But in addition to all of these, you will not be, you know, it's not really necessary that you borrow those books because we have digital copies of those books on our shared drive as well, right? So, and that's of course free of cost. So and even with the learning content provided by the University of Bedfordshire, there wouldn't necessarily be a need for a textbook, right? Because their content basically follows like stuff like slides, stuff like presentations, stuff like videos, stuff like that. So we do have a lot of those as well. And our lecturers at CTS College have their own notes, their takeaways from the stuff that is being presented by the university as well. So you have a wide range of quality content as well, right, for your unit. So there isn't really the need for textbooks, but we have those available for absolutely free as well on our share drive, the ones that are more IT based, right, for the units that you will be undertaking within the BSc IT. But any books, I believe, at the school library, you know, there would be a price for renting the book, etc. Right. So I hope that answers your question there. Cool. All right, so how do you qualify? So in terms of the entry requirements for level 4 year 1, successful candidates should possess any one of the following. You need at least 2 years IT work experience or K passes or any previous tertiary level qualification or IT certifications, or if you're using CSEC, right? If you just completed secondary school, or let's say that you completed secondary school and you started to work right after that, and some time passed and you know you never really dabbled into tertiary level education, you can actually apply and get through at level 4. So you will need to provide your CSEC qualification with at least 2 years general work experience. If you have less than that, totally fine. I've seen students got through with it, right? And if you present any other certification or any other thing that you would have done, that would be valuable as well. So again, in summary, this is ideal for persons who have some IT work experience or have key passes or tertiary level qualification, or they are a mature candidate with at least 3 years of work experience. Now, the evidence to support your application is standard. It's either a job letter or your resume. Well, basically a job letter to support your work experience. If you're using IT work experience as to fill one of the requirements, you would need to present a job letter to basically confirm your position at said company working under that specific IT position. You would also need to present your academic certificate. So if you're using your CSEC qualification, you need to present your official CSEC certificate or official transcript. If you're using any other form of documentation, right, it must be official, right? No preliminary slips would be allowed. In terms of ID, now you can use either your ID or passport. Yes, driver's license are actually considered, right? But it's not really considered by the University of Bedfordshire or basically the UK, right, as a valid form of ID. They want to see your national ID or your passport, right? And of course, they would like to see a copy of your resume as well. So that's your supporting documents in addition to the application form that has to be filled out. So you have your application form, and depending on what you're using, you'll be providing those as well as supporting documents, right? So your ID, your certifications, your academic certificates, etc., job letter or resume or stuff like that. All right. So for the entry requirement for level 5, year 2, right, successful candidates should possess any one of the following. They would need either a level 4 diploma, a level 4 IT diploma or equivalent, or they can have K passes, a combination of K passes and at least 2 years IT work experience, or they can have a combination of IT work experience, at least 2 years, academic and or professional qualifications. So if you don't have CAPE, if you do any other certification course or any other program, you can include that together with your IT work experience. Or likewise, if you have general work experience and you have IT-based qualifications, you can combine them and use them, and you have a high chance of getting into level 5 as well. All right. So again, supporting information is required as well, in addition to the application form, in the form of your job letter, your academic certifications, your professional certifications, ID or passport, and a copy of your resume. Question in chat. Program is this program GATE funded? Now, a lot of students ask this question, and the thing about GATE is it's pretty much for local programs. This program is considered to be a foreign program, and GATE funding has been removed or is not available for any foreign program being offered by any foreign institution, even if it's being offered in conjunction with CTS College, which is basically a locally based institution, where the program itself is not, it does not belong to CTS College. So therefore, GATE funding would not apply to this program, just to put that out there as well, unfortunately. Right. But in terms of like the payment plan structure and stuff like that, it's so affordable and so customizable that a lot of students, they don't even ask about GATE funding, or they don't even have to apply for a student loan or anything like that. Right. It's really, really well structured so that you have the ability to choose. Right. So we'll get to that a bit later, but thanks so much for asking that question as well, because I know a lot of persons would have been interested in utilizing GATE. Right. So is there a bridging program to start level 4 if you just finished secondary school? Yes, Stefan, there is. We're going to get to that a bit later, but I want to cover up in terms of the BSc IT, right? And then we'll move across to it. Actually, the next iteration of the bridging program would be starting next year, a bit late in January, or I believe a little bit later in February, right? But I'll give you much clearer insight in when these courses would be starting. And of course, the ins and outs with regards to the bridging program that we have to offer as well, right? So that bridging program, for those of you all who are not familiar, it basically bridges the gap between secondary level education and tertiary level. So basically we prepare you, right? And we will be giving you IT certifications from CTS College that you can now use together with any other supporting documents to apply for the bachelor's in IT, and you will stand a much higher chance of being accepted since the certifications are IT based, right? So that's the whole idea of the bridging program. We're bridging the gap between secondary level and tertiary level education by providing a program by which they can use to get a certificate and then use that certificate to apply for the bachelor's in IT, where the student would stand a much higher chance of being accepted. All right. So yes, it is available, and we'll get to that a bit later in terms of the price and stuff like that. So in terms of the entry requirements for the final year, successful candidates should possess any one of the following: a level 5 IT diploma, an HND, or an associate's degree in IT, right? So that's one. You can have a combination of IT work experience, at least 4 years, and academic and professional qualifications. So if you don't have a level 5 diploma, an HND, or an associate's, and you have IT work experience, you can still apply. If you have any other IT qualifications, you can supply it. If you don't have the IT qualifications and you just have the IT work experience, you will require a job letter as some sort of written confirmation that you possess this amount of work experience working at XYZ company, etc. Or of course, you could provide your resume as well. Now, again, evidence of support. You have your application form, and you need to provide your job letter, copy of your academic certifications, professional certification, copy of your ID or passport, and a copy of your resume. Now, a lot of persons are going to ask me, because a lot of persons are typically like finishing up their associates and they are waiting their transcript or certification. Yes, you can use your transcript. However, you would still need to provide your certificate, your official certificate later down the line. So we could kickstart the application, send it off with an unofficial transcript, right, for the meanwhile, but you need to let us know when you get your official certificate so that we can follow up on your application and send that over to them to confirm that you would have completed your level 5 diploma or your HND or associate's degree or anything like that. All right. So yes, unofficial transcripts can be used, but there's a chance that you may not be accepted right away, right? So that's why it's important when you're doing your application, you only provide or you bring forward official certificate, official documentation. But again, if you have an unofficial transcript and you're expected to receive your certificate in a little time, right, we can use the unofficial transcript in the meanwhile to kickstart your application. And then once you get the certificate, you provide it to us and we'll forward it to follow up with your application as well, right? Just to secure your position, secure your acceptance, to confirm as well. All right, so those would have been the entry requirements as well. Now, how to apply in terms of the application form, we can actually assist you in filling out that application form. In addition to that, you will need to submit your cover letter, your CV and your ID. And of course, you will need to submit a letter from the employer confirming the job title and the duration of the employment in that position. The letter should clearly specify it is the position. So this is specifically for those who are using job letters. It must be a letter from your employer confirming the job title, the duration of the employment in that position, and it should clearly specify that it is a position, right? So that's if you're using a job letter, this is specifically how it should be done. You should also submit a copy of your transcripts and certificates. Now, if you submit your certificate, there's no need for a transcript, but if you don't have your certificate, you can submit your transcript in the meanwhile while you await your certificate, which you would have talked about just now. And of course, you need to submit a copy of your IT certifications if you are using IT certifications to support your application. All right. So a bit about the process, or basically applying and starting. So you are basically at the start of this process. You are currently at application for those of you who are interested in applying, right? So this is you right now. Student applies via the application form. They provide the documents, supporting materials as well, and we would compile that and then send it off to the University of Bedfordshire. So the CTS BSc IT program would send the application to the University of Bedfordshire, after which we would expect feedback from the University of Bedfordshire in the form of an acceptance letter or a letter of offer, as they refer to it as. And once we get that, the student would now sign that and of course indicate that whether they would like to start right away or if they would like to start in a future semester. So you as a student have the ability to choose where you want to start right away. So the idea is you can apply now and then get accepted and choose not to start in January. You can actually start later than that in a later semester, but an acceptance letter is only valid for one academic year, which is basically 3 semesters long. So if you don't use it, you'll need to reapply, right? However, a lot of students, that's not a problem that we typically deal with, but if it arises and you were accepted previously, it's a high chance that you will be accepted again, and you wouldn't need to wait as long as, you would have waited initially in your first application and acceptance in the first application and acceptance. So at this point here, student would make payment after accepting the offer, right? The student would, after accepting the offer and indicating that they would like to start within the semester that's beginning in January or otherwise, right? In order to confirm registration, the student will be required to start making payments towards their fees. So all the way up to feedback from the University of Bedfordshire of the student accepting the offer, they would only be invoiced only after they indicate that they would be starting their first semester, right? Other than that, there's no fees that would be invoiced as well. The application process is absolutely free. And once the student makes payments, we would confirm with the University of Bedfordshire that they have officially registered with CTS College, and they can have their student, they can have access to Brio, they can have access to the learning materials as well. They will be a registered student with the University of Bedfordshire, and they will be ready to start their classes on the 21st of January next year, right? And of course, you'll be added to your WhatsApp groups, because we do have those as well to create the effect of the community where students and lecturers and us, the BSc IT team, can communicate with you as well. Send important updates there as well via email and the WhatsApp group as well. So we have it as like across a classroom environment that would more or less simulate interaction with other students as well, right? Because part of the experience is interaction with not only your lecturer or the BSc IT team, but with regards to your peers as well, because a lot of students would develop a lot of friendships. A lot of friendships would obviously be developed throughout your stay at CTS College doing this program, right? So that's the intention of the WhatsApp group as well. And you will be added, of course, before your start of classes. So again, Step 1 is the application. Step 2 is we send it up to the university. Step 3, we expect feedback from the University of Bedfordshire within a 2 to 3 week period in the form of an acceptance letter or a letter of offer. And once we receive that for you, we would issue it to you, and you would make the decision whether you like to start right away, if you like to start in a future semester. If you're starting in a future semester, we will just put the acceptance on hold, and you would just indicate to us where you would like to start and what semester you'd like to start in, and we'll follow up with you then. Or if you choose to accept the offer, all right, we would now invoice you. So you're only liable for payment when you sign that letter of offer indicating that you will be starting. That's when we would invoice you. When you make that payment, now we finalize registration with the university and you'll be all set for your classes within that semester. All right, so that's the steps between applying and starting this program. And of course, we're going to get to the most important part of it, the cost. So we have now here in front of us the total cost for the program overall in terms of each level. So we have level 4, year 1. Now the number of units, right, determines how much you'll be paying. So you have your CTS registration fee, that's standard $500 per semester, right? So we would have run through how the semesters are structured and all of that. So we're looking specifically at level 4, year 1 here. The number of units that you will be doing is 4. So every level has 4 units, right? So $500 per semester, right? Remember that you have 2 semesters in each level, right? So basically this would total up to be $1,000 here in terms of registration for the entire level, right? And then you have your tuition fee. So you're studying 4 units at level 4, right? It's $2,000 per unit. So that should total up to $8,000 for all 4 units for the level. So $1,000 in registration for the entire level and $8,000 for all of the units. That's a total of $9,000 TT. Now, in addition to that, right, for the entire level, you have the university fees that are paid in pounds and it's charged per module, quite similar to how our tuition is calculated, right? So it's £150 per unit. So 4 units, we multiply that, we get £600, which is roughly $6,000 TT. It could be a lot less depending on the exchange rate at the time of, you purchasing pounds and making the payment as well. So the highest figure that I would recommend is like 6,000. Would not be over 6,000 TT. So in total, right, you have 9,000 in terms of the total registration and total tuition, 9,000 TT, and then you have £600. So 9,000 TT, £600 to complete level 4, year 1. And you are not required to pay this upfront. You have the availability of a monthly payment plan. You can pay per semester, but this is the calculation for the entire level overall. Now, a bit of similarity from level 4 on to level 5, you would notice that the registration fees basically stays the same throughout the entire program, right? The tuition tends to go up because in level 4, where it was $2,000 per module, in level 5, it's $2,250 per module, right? So it goes up by $250 TT. And then the university fee stays the same from level 4 to level 5. So now you have 10,000 TT, 1,000 in registration, and 9,000 in tuition. So that's £10,600. Right, for the entire level 5, which takes place over a period of 8 months. Now, in level 6, it's a bit more robust. It's a bit different. It's your final year. After this, you will be achieving your bachelor's degree. So again, your 1,000 in tuition for your both semesters, right? Now, again, your tuition fee goes up to 2,500. From where it was 2,250, it goes up again to 2,500. It goes up by $250. Right? So in total, in terms of tuition, you would be paying 10,000 tuition, and your 1,000 from here would make that 11,000 TT dollars. Now, where in level 4 and level 5, your pound fee would have been £150 here and here. Level 6 is a bit different. The cost is a bit higher. You have £375 per module, which would total up to be £1,500. So 11,000 TT, £1,500 for level 6. That's your total cost for level 6. So this is basically me breaking down the entire structure per level. Now, if we were to go a bit further in terms of how the monthly payment plan is structured, right? Because I know that's something that's going to pique your interest here. Of course, the total cost, like in terms of me giving you a total cost in TT, right, we have roughly calculated it to be anywhere between 54 to 56,000 TT dollars over your 2-year, 8-month period, provided on where you start. So if you start at level 4 and you're going all the way to level 6, it would be the total of 54 to 56,000. If you start at level 5, obviously you're going to be exempted from these fees here, and you'll only be required to pay your level 5 and level 6 fees. And of course, if you start at level 6, you'll be exempted from the level 5 fees, right? And you'll be paying a certain amount here as well, right? But if the total cost, if you're starting at level 4, going all the way to level 6, right, it would be anywhere from 54 to 56,000 TT dollars in total, right? So just to bear that in mind. Now, you have the ability to pay all of these fees upfront. You have the availability to pay, like, let's say you're starting level 4, you can pay the level 4 fees for the entire level upfront. You could pay the entire semester fee upfront as well, or you can pay per semester on a monthly payment plan. So we're going to run through the monthly payment plans available. Now, level 4, we're going to look at something here. So we're going to break it down into semesters. So we have semester 1, we have semester 2, right? This yellow is maybe a bit difficult for you guys to see, so I'm just going to use a bit more intense color, let's say red. So you have semester 1, we have semester 2, right? So the structure for level 4 is basically the same across both semesters. So at the beginning, the start of the semester, right, you're expected to pay your 500 TT dollar registration fee. You can pay $1,000 towards tuition, and we recommend that you pay 150 pounds here, right? The sooner that you get rid of these pound figures, the better for you. Now, ideally, your total payment for the first month, doing your bachelor's degree in your first semester, will be 1,500 TT and 150 pounds. That's not bad. You have, like, if we convert this here to TT, that's an additional 1,500 TT. So that's really 3,000 TT dollars at the end of your first month, right? Now, notice there's blank space here and here. So you can actually shift these pound payments down. So you can pay your first pound payment in the second month and pay the second pound payment in the third month, or you could shift it even lower and pay off at the end, right? So that's when we see it's flexible. Now, at the end of this, if you follow, you'll be paying 1,000 TT dollars per month, depending on where you clear those fees. If you shift these on here, this would exist here, this would exist here, right, in terms of the pounds, right? So that's when we say customizable, right? So you have the ability to let us know, well, okay, this is how I would be structuring my payment plan, right? And do let us know if this basically is not ideal for you, right? We can formulate something a bit different as well, right? So we do stuff on a case-to-case basis as well, right? So this is just simply a suggestion of how it could be done. But if you need a bit more personalized plan, we can work something out there as well. But at the end of your semester, following this payment plan structure, you would be paying off your semester's fees, right? And of course, this exact same model for your first semester is being utilized here in your second semester, right? You'll notice the totals here are the same as the totals here, right? So again, the final total cost of the level being covered here, right? So if you follow this payment plan structure, you achieve this at the end of your journey through level 4, which is 9,000 TT dollars and 600 pounds, which we would have looked at a bit earlier on, right? So again, this is just simply a suggestion of how it could be done. Now, if there's a need for a personalized plan, we can look at doing something a bit specialized for you as well. But that's a case-to-case basis where students will need to contact us and let us know what works for them. All right, so that's your payment plan structure for level 4. Let's look at level 5. So again, very similar in terms of the concept. We can shift these payments down if necessary, but at the beginning, we recommend that you pay your registration fee, your tuition fee of 1,125 TT dollars, and your first total would be 1,625 TT dollars and 150 pounds if you choose to make this pounds payment here, right? As recommended, but if you don't want to, you can shift them down, right? So at the end of the semester, you could pay like 1,625 and 150 pounds, 1,125 and 150 pounds, and then for your remainder of 2 months, you have just $1,000 here, $1,000 here roughly, and at the end of it, you make up this figure, 5,000 TT dollars, 300 pounds for your first semester. So you've basically finished paid off for your first semester. The same model is utilized in your second semester right here. So at the end of it, at the end of level 5, you would have covered your entire tuition fee, right? Completely, which is 10,000 TT and 600 pounds, which you would have looked at previously in terms of calculating the total cost. All right, so that's your payment plan structure for level 5. At level 6, at level 6, It's similar, but it's a bit more intense in terms of these university fees. So again, these can be shifted down. Your registration fee is paid up front together with some sort of tuition payment as well. So your first payment monthly, your first payment per month could look something like this here. Right, so 1750 TT and £375 is what your second payment could look like for your second month, and your third and fourth would just simply be TT if you pay these up here. But if you shift them down, these payments will look something like this. So you see the pounds a bit lower down here as well. But your first semester total is actually cleared, right? So this structure is actually again duplicated here in your second semester, whereby you come up with that figure there. And of course, by the end of it, you would clear your level 6 total of 11,000 TT and £1,500 following this payment plan structure. Now, again, it's just simply a suggestion. It's something that we are proposing to you. If for some reason this does not fit your needs, we can work around this with a specialized plan, but that's again, case to case basis. All right. So that there would have been the payment plan structure for level 4, 5, and 6 respectively, and of course the total cost for the program as well. Now, you were basically told of a special offer when you would have been, invited for this information session. Now, the idea is applicants would receive up to $1,000 off their tuition fees per level. So ideally, you can be getting 250 TT dollars off your tuition, right? If you satisfy the criteria of the special offer. Right, so these are the criteria of the special offer. To access the special offer, the student must attend an information session. So all 15 of you who are currently here, you would have satisfied the first criteria. The second criteria is that you submit your completed application form with supporting documents by next week, Friday, which is the 9th of December, to CTS College. And you can email them to bsc@ctscollege.com, or you can WhatsApp them to me as well, or any one of the numbers that we would have shown earlier on, right? We will compile the application, send it off, right? Regardless of where it's sent, right? And of course, once you send it and you don't get a response, please follow up, please call, please indicate that, I sent in my application, I sent it here so we can look into it. It's very important that we follow up with your application, right? But typically when students forward it, it's dealt with like a matter of urgency, right? And of course, that's the second criteria, right? The third criteria would have been to pay your semester's registration, tuition, and university fees before the start of the semester, and we will apply the discount there. So we would actually discount it. If not within that semester, we would apply the discount to your second semester fees, right? But the discount is still issued. And if you clear your fees in advance, they will simply deduct it in the next semester coming forward, right? So that's how we would typically do it. So these are the criteria for the special offer. In terms of the starting period, your starting period is when? The 21st of January, Saturday, the 21st of Jan is the start of the new semester. Your very first class for all levels would be Saturday, the 21st of January. You would have your induction sessions on the 14th and the 18th of January, respectively. You need to attend both of them as well, right? But your classes would begin on Saturday, the 21st of January, according to the timetable, right? So at this point in time, I would like to move forward into the bridging program. But before we even do that, I would like to encourage anyone, if they have any questions at any, like with regards to anything at all, right? Please reach out, let me know. Is there any questions at this point? Anyone with any concerns with regards to the BSc IT program? You don't have to unmute and ask your question. You can post it in the Zoom chat. I would more than be happy to answer it there as well. Or if you're a bit too shy to ask the question within the session, you can call me afterwards. I'll give you my number as well. I'll have my numbers up on screen as a matter of fact. Just give me 1 second. So let me just leave these numbers on screen. So you can contact any one of the persons here on screen, right, for further information. This is me here, right? So you can contact me after the session, right? 2860862, and we can have conversations regarding your questions. I'm seeing a question in the chat. No questions from you? Okay, cool. No problem. So at this point in time, since there are no questions, right, there may not be questions yet, but again, I'll revisit that aspect of it, right? We're going to look at the BSc IT bridging program that we actually have set up for students who are interested in the BSc in IT bachelor degree program, but they don't really meet the requirements. So they think that they're not ready for it as yet. So what if you don't think that you meet the entry requirements, or you think that you're just not ready for a bachelor's degree as yet? This is where the IT bridging program comes in. So this program is ideal for students who just came out of secondary school who are seeking to pursue a qualification in information technology. The course is actually ideal for persons who have completed their CSEC qualifications but may not have achieved the qualifying standard to enroll in the BSc in Information Technology program. And this does not only apply to BSc in IT. Like, let's say that you want to get into some other course, maybe not with CTS College, but you want to be familiar a bit more like the basics of IT, a bit deeper into like the at least to the tuition level standard, right? This is an excellent insight into that as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to serve as you moving into another bachelor degree, right? You can actually just simply do the program just because, right? You just want that knowledge, you just want that information, right? And of course, you would be getting a certificate of completion once you complete the bridging program. Now, this bridging program is actually divided into many different courses, which we are going to look at a bit later. So the bridging program is made up of 5 individual courses, each of which introduces the student to an area within the field of information technology. So each one of these 5 courses would run for 4 weeks, which means that there's 12 contact hours, there's 4 classes, right? And these classes are typically 3 hours long. So the courses are practical with weekly assessments. So every time you complete a class, there's an assignment or homework given that you must solve before the next day of class or by the next week, right? And these are much more practical based. They are not really, basically like exams and stuff like that. It's much more practical work, right? Each course is actually directly linked to the units. So the benefit of it is as well, right? For the students who are eventually moving into the BSc in IT with us, right? We actually kind of linked it the way in terms of like the content, how it's covered to the BSc in IT, specifically out of level 4, because students who complete this, they will be applying for level 4. So we would have taken like some core concepts and stuff like that from level 4 in the bachelor's in IT and made it a bit more like of the lower level so that students can be introduced to these concepts and understand them properly, and basically get a feel of what they would be doing at the bachelor level. Right, so upon completion of each one of these courses, students would receive a certificate. So you get a certificate for each one. So you could choose to enroll for them individually, right? And you can get a completion certificate once you pass the course for each one that you are enrolled for. There was someone with their hand up. I believe it was Mr. Kujo. Nigel? Yeah.
Yes, hi.
Yes.
The question that I had, I don't know if I missed it. I came in a little late. The University of Bedfordshire, are there any amount of particular amount of credits that you're supposed to make towards university? The reason that I'm asking is that if I come in at level 5, just do 5 and 6, would I be short of any credits, so to say, in order to attain the bachelor's certification?
All right, so to answer that question, I will say yes. The idea is that let's just say you start at level 5, you complete level 5. There are basically, they start grading you immediately. It's not like at the end, but the thing is, you would not be receiving, because I know a lot of the like programs out there, they offer like a diploma at the end of each level within their program. This program is not like that. You need to complete your assignments. You would be given your marks throughout. You would have, of course, the availability to see your results as you progress through the program, the amount of credits attained, the amount of marks that you would have had for each one of your assignments, and of course the overall like basically total for each unit that you would have done as well, right? And only after completing that at the end, you would receive your bachelor's degree.
Thank you.
No problem. Right, so it's not a problem there. Right, in terms of progression and stuff like that, typically majority of our students obtain their 30 credits per unit, right? And anyone who gets like around 85 and above in our unit, they are basically like, as a matter of fact, I don't think it has to be as high as 85. It could be a bit lower than that, probably like around 70, anywhere from 70 to 100% is automatically 30 credits, right? Anything lower than that, the credits start to drop. All right, but majority of our students, again, based on our excellence in staff and teaching and stuff like that, right, and of course the support that we provide to students as well, rarely ever we have a case of a student failing a unit or having to repeat an assignment and stuff like that, right? It's really on a case-to-case basis kind of thing. More questions on the chat? Yes, Keston, you can actually apply online. We have the digital copies of the application form as well, so you can open the application form in your browser and have it filled out and email to us as well, together with scanned copies of your supporting documents. Now you can take pictures of your documents as well, but just make sure that your pictures are clean and clear and properly cropped as well, so that the information on it is visible. And you can email all of those to bsc@ctscollege.com. Or you could forward it to me on WhatsApp. You can add me and forward it to me on WhatsApp as well, and we'll take it from there. Excellent. All right, so moving back into the bridging program. So again, 5 courses. Each course runs for 4 weeks. You have 4 classes, 12 contact hours in total. Each week you would be assessed in the form of an assignment, not necessarily an exam. And of course, it's much in relation to what you would be doing at level 4 in the bachelor degree program. We try to mirror that as well. And upon completion of each course, a student would receive a certificate of completion depending on the grade. So it would reflect a grade as well. So in terms of the courses that are being offered, we have a Java course, Python, networking, web design, and of course, database design fundamentals. So these are the 5. You can do all 5, or you can do any 1 or 2 or 3, like depending on how much you want to do within the iteration of the bridging program, you can, right? But it's encouraged that you do as much as you can, because the more, we have noticed that the more, if you're planning to move on to the bachelor's, we would recommend that you do all 5, because the more IT certificates that you provide, the better chance that you stand at getting accepted according to the university standard. All right, so each one of these courses, we're going to be looking at specifically more practical based work, with the exception of the networking fundamentals. Most of these concepts are like basically theory rather than practical work, right? So you would have stuff like IP addressing, and you would have stuff like that. At level 4, however, you would be getting a bit more practical with it in terms of setting up routers and switches and stuff like that. So at level 4 in the bachelor's, yes, but within the bridging program, not necessarily. So this one would be much more exam based. Right, so we have introduction to Java programming, introduction to Python programming. So you cover 2 programming languages if you do so wish to. We also have the networking fundamentals. We have the introduction to web design as well. We would introduce you to the use of HTML, CSS, so those scripting languages as well. And we would introduce you to SQL, right, or SQL, right, or structured query language, which is used to develop databases. So you get insight into that as well. And of course, constructing your database model even before writing SQL code as well. All right, so that's typically the 5 units that would be offered within the bridging program, on the 5 courses that would be offered within the bridging program. Now you have the opportunity to choose which ones you want to do, and these are when it typically starts. Now the first one would actually start on the 1st of February, which would be the Python. So the Python is the very first one that will be beginning, right? And then the others would follow. So the 1st of February, then we have the 2nd of February, the database design fundamentals. So these 2 would be primarily the first that starts. We have the others following up in the 2nd of March, 3rd of March, and the 29th of March, respectively, right? So that's typically our structure. So you may have classes on a weekday, because these are not weekend classes, but these classes would be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. These classes are recorded, so if you do happen to miss one, yes, you would have the availability of watching the recording, reviewing your lecture notes. The assignments would be issued, and you're expected to submit by a deadline if extensions are needed. With regards to you submitting your assignment, you can be granted an exception as well. So we are a bit more compensating, seeing that this is not the university standard that you're dealing with, right? So we can be a bit more accommodating, but we're trying to mirror very closely in terms of having a serious environment where students must make sure that they submit on time. So not only must you submit by a specific day, you must submit by a specific time. So I could set your assignment deadline date to be Friday before 10 a.m., right? So you have to submit on a specific day before a specific time. Right, so that's exactly what we're trying to basically create a mirror effect from the BSc IT bridging program into the bachelor level. All right, so these are the start and end dates for all of the courses that will be beginning in next year in our next iteration or next cycle of the bridging program, right? And the very first class would be Python programming. The second class would be database design fundamentals. The third class will be web design. Fourth would be networking fundamentals. And the last one that will be starting later on in March would be introduction to Java programming, right? So save the dates. And if you do so wish to apply for all 5, we do have something in store for you. So that brings me to the cost application, the cost aspect of it. So if you're doing them individually, let's say that you want to do, for example, you just want to do Java and you want to do web design. So it's $1,000 each per course, right? So 1,000 here and 1,000 here. Right, so that's $2,000. But if you do all 5 for students who are moving on to the bachelor's, if you do all 5, you have the benefit of learning all of this good content, as well as we are actually issuing a 30% discount off each course if you choose to do all 5 as a bundle. So rather than doing them individually and you have to come back to do one in a new cycle and you'll be paying a total of $5,000 at the end, you can do all 5 in one cycle and pay $3,500. You get $300 off each course, or 30% off each course, right? If you choose to do all 5, right? So you turn out a bit better in terms of doing all 5 at once and then moving straight onto your bachelor's degree, applying and starting your bachelor's degree soon after, right? So $3,500 for the bridging program, essentially if you're doing all 5, but if you're doing 1 or 2 or 3 at a time during different cycles, your total would be roughly 5,000 TT or $1,000 per course, depending. All right, so any questions here with regards to the cost aspect? And yes, we still have a payment plan structure for this as well. So our payment plan structure is that you can pay your fees upfront, right? That's an option. Or you can pay 50% upfront at the start of the very first course. And of course, you can pay 25 for the next 2 months and you can pay off. Or you can pay 25 upfront and then pay 25 and then 50, or we could split it accordingly as well, right? If you're not comfortable with the 50% payment upfront and then 25 by 25 for the remainder of the 2 months or the remainder of the course as well, we can work something out that's a bit more specialized for you as well to compensate for that. All right, so a lot of questions in the chat. I'll get back to those in a bit. Just give me a couple of moments. Let me just finish this off, right? So in terms of the payment plan, this is the structure that we have: 50% upfront, right? And then you can pay 25% off your total for the remainder of the 2 months within the bridging program, right? So in terms of applying and registering, we have an application form, a registration form that has to be filled out. Now, there's no formal, in terms of acceptance, anyone can apply, anyone will definitely be accepted within the bridging program. There's no limits, no prerequisites, anything like that, right? So essentially, it's just simply you filling out the registration form indicating your basic information, first name, last name, gender, email address, contact information, essentially. And of course, to compensate for the younger student body as well, right? We would need one emergency contact, whether it be a parent or a parental guardian or whatever the case might be. If it's a bit more mature candidate, we would just simply recommend that maybe a spouse or a friend or something like that for, of course, the emergency contact. And of course, registration. In terms of registering, you can actually start making payments now. So you can actually register now and start making payments closer to the start of the very first course, right? Or you can start looking to make payments right away, as a matter of fact. All right, so essentially right after you fill that document out, you email it back to us at bsc@ctscollege.com, right? And we would have you enrolled in each course. We would add you to the WhatsApp chat. We'll give you access to the content so you can start reading up your work in preparation for the cycle that starts in February next year. All right, so do let us know. The application form or the registration form for both the bachelor's in IT as well as the bridging program would be emailed to you soon after this session is finished, right? So you can have a look for it there. If you can't find it or you can't get your hands on it, feel free to reach out to me and I would gladly provide it to you. All right, so that's pretty much it for the presentation that we have here set for today. We would have covered the information on bachelor's, the BSc IT program at CTS College through the University of Bedfordshire, and we would have covered our IT bridging program as well. So I'll just visit the chat to address some of the questions that were being asked while I was presenting. So, all right, so is a CV required for all applications? Yes, it is. Now, I know a lot of persons, even the younger ones as well, not coming out from secondary school, even the ones who, like just kicks out, I would definitely recommend that you you include your resume, you include your CV, right? Because even if you don't have IT work experience, it does not matter. They are basically use experiential learning as a valid requirement or a valid prerequisite to enter into their program. So let's say that you're a cashier, right? But you have an interest, you have CSEC qualifications, you have work experience as a cashier for maybe 3 or 4 years now, right? And you're looking to do your bachelor's degree, right? On your resume, you're going to indicate that we're going to have a separate form that we typically fill out on your behalf, and we send it off to the university to prove experiential learning. So yes, it's actually required, and that's where we would get that information from, the actual resume or the CV, right? So it is definitely required for all students who are applying for the bachelor's in IT. I would recommend that you include your resume. All right, of course. All right, so we have another question. All right, so can you apply to the bachelor's and then pick up in the October semester? Yes, you can, right? And yeah. All right, so when you say courses, Miss Scott, I don't want to pronounce your first name wrong, so I've just addressed it by Miss Scott, right? In terms of like reference to courses, are you speaking about the bridging program courses? Right. So, well, if you apply for the bachelor's degree, right, it would not make sense doing the bridging program. The whole idea of doing the bridging program is that you, like for students who don't really meet the requirement for the bachelor's in IT, right, they would do the bridging program first and then apply later for the bachelor's in IT, right? So it wouldn't make sense applying for the bachelor's in IT and being accepted and then doing the bridging program, right? The bridging program is in preparation for the bachelor's in IT, right? So you would need to examine in terms of the requirements. So we can actually discuss in terms of where you are in terms of the work experience. And I can actually recommend if that you do the bridging program first and then you can apply for the bachelor's in IT, or you apply for the bachelor's in IT and you forget about the bridging program entirely. So if you like, we can have a conversation soon after the session is finished as well, if that's a bit better for you. All right, so anyone with any further questions? All right, so I'm glad that you asked that question. In terms of classes, are they all fully online or are they face-to-face at CTS? No, we have had conversations with ACTT, the University of Bedfordshire, of presenting a face-to-face option, but regardless of where the students, have a face-to-face option or an online option, is still an option. So they have the ability to choose whether they want face-to-face or online. But as of right now, that discussion is still ongoing. We're still working things out. But eventually we may have to return to face-to-face. Not fully, the option is for the student. But right now, everything is online. So all of your classes will be conducted on Zoom. So you'll be given links for your classes and stuff like that. All right, Ms. Scott, no problem. All right. All right, Sabria, I hope I answered your question there. All right, no problem. And of course, online classes, the benefit of it for both the lecturers, the student body as well. Our students don't have to fight the hassle of coming down to our campus in order to do face-to-face classes, right? Because we have students not only within Trinidad, we have students outside of like in Tobago. That would be, a bit inconvenient for them to, travel to Trinidad to do face-to-face classes. And of course, our lecturers, we don't only have lecturers from Trinidad, we have lecturers from Tobago as well, right? And outside of that, we have students from other areas of the Caribbean, even outside of the Caribbean as well. We have students from the US and stuff like that. So yeah, doing face-to-face classes fully may be a challenge for us, right? So that's why if it's something that we're gonna do, it would be an option based on what the student wants. All right. All right, cool. No more questions? Anyone with anything at all? If you're not comfortable asking me now, call me after the session. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave my number on screen. So guys, you can take a screenshot of this. So just simply save the number, right? So let me just leave these numbers up on screen, right? You can contact any one of the persons on screen right now to get assistance, right? As soon as the session finishes, you can contact me. This is my contact information here. And your applications go to bsc@ctscollege.com, or you can WhatsApp it to any one of these individuals, right? Okay, so if a student has to retake a module on an exam, so how it really works is that if initially you are given a fresh attempt on an assignment, right? So you have typically 2 assignments for a module. So you're doing, let's just say you're doing one module and you happen to fail an assignment, right? You are given an opportunity to retake that assignment in the form of a referral, right? So that's another opportunity for you to retake the assessment. Now, if for some reason you fail the referral assignment, which is typically the same assignment to begin with, it's not like a new one, it's typically the same one. But if you happen to fail that referral or miss that referral deadline, you would now need to pay to repeat the unit. Now, CTS College would not invoice you tuition as you would have sat into class before. We would invoice you for registration and you would have to pay your university fee to retake the module, right? Because if you fail an assignment, you have to pass both assignments in order to progress, so in order to pass the module. So if you fail one of the assignments, you're given a free attempt in the form of a referral to repeat the assignment. If you fail that, you'll have to repeat the unit. And you'll have to pay the fees as well for repeating the university fees. But CTS College would not invoice you for tuition, right? We would just simply invoice you for $500 registration when you're repeating your unit, and you'll have to pay the university fee of £150 or £375 or whatever, depending on which level or which units you would have failed, depending on the level. Yep, you will be seeing the recording on the slide shortly after the session is finished. All right, Mr. Ramcharan, did I answer your question? All right. Yes, that is the issue. It will definitely affect the timeline, because if you are to repeat a module, that means that you can't progress on. So like, let's say that you pass 3 out of 4 modules in level 4. You have just one more that you failed and you have to repeat it. You now have to take time to repeat that module only in the semester it's being offered, because the semesters would alternate. You would only get 2 out of the 4 modules in one semester than the other 2. So let's just say that you fail a module this semester. You can't repeat it next semester because the other 2 modules are being offered. So you have to wait an additional 4 months again in order to do that module that you would have failed. So definitely it will affect your timeline. So recommendation, if you know you are going to be late with an assignment, I recommend that you apply for an extension through the mitigation process. So we do actually have compensation for that. So if you know that you are going to be late with your assignment, you can apply for an extension through the mitigation team at the University of Bedfordshire. You have the availability to get at least 7 days or an entire week from the initial due date as an extension, or if you provide like medical certificates, like if it's a medical problem, you can get 2 weeks extensions from the initial due date. And these are calendar days, these are not business days. All right. So if you know that you're going to be late with an assignment, that's something that you can do. Or, if you just happen to do the assignment but happen to fail, you can do the referral for free, right? And if you pass the referral, you're good to go. You can progress as normal, or you would have to repeat the unit if you fail the referral, and that would affect your timeline only then and there. But rarely ever students fail referrals. Rarely students ever get referrals, as a matter of fact, maybe 1 student for the entire academic year, 1 or 2 students for the entire academic year. Right? And it's essentially because of personal problems rather than something that is coming from CTS College, because we try to keep in contact with the students as much as we can. We encourage students to call us, have conversations with us as well, based on issues that they're having with regards to their studies, whether it be fees, whether it be personal. We would encourage them to reach out to us, at least let us know what's going on. All right, so we can start formulating plans and providing advice to the students on what steps to take. And of course, if for some reason you think that you finish your level and you're like, wow, this has really taken a toll on me, I think I need a break. Right now, you're given a semester break here, but you can actually interrupt your studies and you can return after your interruption. We would typically interrupt you for a full academic year, which is 3 semesters, but you can return any period of time within that in a semester to start back your work. Right. So if there's a lot of, like a lot of issues and, you have a lot of work commitments, you can actually interrupt your studies and then return, and you could pick up right off where you left. All right. So that's another option as well. All right. So is there any more questions at all? You all hitting me with a lot of great questions. I really appreciate it as well. Now, again, if there's anyone who would like to speak with me directly, right, number on screen, I'm the last individual down there. My number is 2860862. All right. And any inquiries, I would encourage you to email to bsc@ctscollege.com. All right, so I'm not seeing any more questions coming in, so I like to assume that everyone is totally fine with the information that was presented today to them, right? Again, just a quick thank you to everyone who have taken time out of their lovely Saturday morning to sit into this information session, right? I do hope to hear from you guys in the near future. Thank you so much for being a part of this presentation, and of course, do have a wonderful Saturday, and do have a wonderful remainder of your weekend, as a matter of fact. Right. So again, make sure you send in your applications before next week, Friday, to satisfy the second criteria of the special offer as well. Right. And feel free to reach out to me at this number below. Right. Have a good one, guys. Take care.